Hello and welcome to AskLRR, the show where you ask LRR questions and we answer them. It's a great name. Hi everybody, I'm Graham, joined today by Serge.
Hi.
And Beej.
I'm over here.
And Paul is on tech, and we're here to answer your questions that you submitted through the community page on the Loading Ready Run YouTube channel, which is open to YouTube members. If you want to be a YouTube member, you can do that by giving $5 to the channel, because that helps us do all the things that we do. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine, because you still get to see this video and you can support us on Patreon instead. Patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. We really appreciate anyone who's able to support us financially. It means a great deal. And if you can't do that, that is truly okay. We're just happy that you're here. The secret is they force you to offer something. And so you get to ask the questions. So thank you. We really appreciate that. We got a big batch of questions that Heather's thrown up in the, or Heather has thrown up her post that you then posted. Heather didn't throw up. I want to make that clear. I want to make it really clear.
Never does.
No.
Refuses to.
Never heard of it happening. Mm-hmm. I'm unaware that it's ever occurred.
Yes.
Heather posted the thing, and she has now got the questions from the post, and our first question today is from Bourgeois Kaiser? Anyway,
yeah.
I was curious how it feels to have built multiple successful communities over the years, and if there are any interesting challenges you've faced in keeping Magic content, or any of your other ventures, such as LRR Tabletop, separate from the larger LRR canon, or in bringing them together.
Playpens, basically.
Well, I love this because we have the business manager and the boss.
Hello.
So there might be some fascinating... May I go first? And
Please.
I'd love to hear
Love, yeah.
So I would say the biggest challenge that we have is that the algorithm loves consistency. And one of the things that we have done in making all the various things for all the various people has made it harder for ourselves to get picked up by the algorithm, which is not to say that we don't love what we do, but we have succeeded despite ourselves.
Mm-hmm. We early on, actually, we realized when all we were doing was sketches, we realized how challenging it was, because it's like it's always different people, different premise, different style of humor, all that stuff. Every single week is different, and that is hard to get on the internet. That is hard to get repeat people. People want to see people want to see the same stuff again, but slightly altered.
Yeah, like Teletubbies.
Yeah. All you children watching Loading Ready Run. But yeah, no, you're right. So like that's over the years that has been a challenge in sort of cultivating the communities. Specifically, I'm trying to make sure I understand the question. Are there any challenges we face in keeping the Magic content or other stuff separate from the larger Loading Ready Run canon, or in bringing them together? I think it's bringing them together. I don't know. So when we started doing more and more Magic stuff,
right?
Occasionally we'd be like doing crap shots, and one week we'd be like, oh, this is a hilarious Magic joke. We'll do a crap shot of this. And we started getting a lot of pushback on that from commenters, because it's like, to us, it's a joke. We think it's funny, right? Just like all the other jokes we do every week. For some people who don't care about Magic, and for some who like actively hate it, which is,
Sure.
Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
Don't let not hate run your life. But, for them, they just don't get a joke that week, is sort of their kind of interpretation of it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we were like, okay, we'll do crap shots that are just weird, generally they're either accessible or not, depending on the content of a given crap shot. But the point being, they're just general purpose comedy.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the sick rips that are Magic specific, not that we've done one recently, but that are Magic specific crap shot alikes, to sort of keep those separate, because it is a niche. It's a niche that doesn't feel niche to us because we're so very involved in it.
Yeah.
But it is a niche, and so, if you're not in that niche, then it just feels like we're just making a thing that ordinarily you enjoy, and that we're saying this week you don't get to like this.
Right.
And so that's I think been a challenge. Things like that, and which is why actually I think that the delineations that we've done of the YouTube channels have been successful in that regard. In that, just people who like the specific things are now able to sort of seek out.
Yeah.
They get to find their swim lane.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Well, I mean, so that it's not just like, here's the Loading Ready Run channel. We have sketch comedy and a show like literally this one, and the thing where Paul and I are making fun of video games, and a 3-hour-long video of us playing a tabletop game, and then also a Magic the Gathering short, and then a different,
Yeah.
We do so many things that are so disparate that it makes sense to categorize them along, in those ways.
But of course the downside of that has been
Fracturing the audience.
well, not even so much that, because it's like it's that the audience that comes looking for Checkpoint on the main channel and then not finding it because they're like, well, it's missing, and then they don't know who to talk to about that, because how do you talk to anybody about that? If you were only a YouTube viewer and you came to Loading Ready Run and now Checkpoint's just not there anymore, and then eventually you have a thing show up on a video that just be like, hey, I really liked it when you guys make Checkpoint, why'd you stop doing it? And it's like, we never did, it's on one of our other channels. And the level of communication that you have to go through, the constant communication you have to go through to try to tell people, it's like, this has changed, this has moved, and you don't catch everybody no matter what. And they still end up in that boat of like, well, I didn't see the community post, I didn't see the YouTube update that explained this, I didn't see the fact that you have multiple channels, I never searched for the word Checkpoint on YouTube to see if there were any new ones that come out. I never watched enough Checkpoint that the algorithm put that in my recommended in the first place. So that happens to people, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge, is it's like you try to let people know you're doing things, and the tools don't allow you to let people know that it's like, oh, this show that we've been doing on whatever, YouTube doesn't even let us make shows anymore. Like we had a thing where it was like, they used to have series, and it was great because you'd have stuff, and I'm like, the thing you build into that is if you ever move that to another channel or do anything else with it, then you could say, this show you were watching, we're going to point that now it goes over to here. And it's like, a lot of those tools are not developed that way. YouTube doesn't think of developing stuff that way for creators who are like us, because we are probably a little...
The anomaly?
We are a little anomalous. It's true.
Yeah.
But when you think about communities, like multiple communities, I took this also as like, well, how do you take your people who were forum denizens, but then there's also the people who follow you on Twitter, but then you set up a Discord, and now a lot of the forum people moved into that, but now we're thinking of moving off of Twitter more, because it's like Mastodon seems to be that kind of chronological algorithm-free experience that everyone really wanted out of Twitter for a long, long time, and it's like, how do you tell people it's like we're kind of moving in this direction, and then the striation of that too, where it's like people who only follow you on a social media blogging platform who are maybe not coming to the Discord to see stuff that's going on. It's like, that's also complicated. But giving people places to be, and then they can talk about you and like your stuff, helps too. I think moving to Mastodon was actually not a bad idea, or at least being on there, if we move wholeheartedly or not, but at least being on there is like, we're giving you a place to go, that you to find our stuff, because the Loading Ready Run account, the Loading Ready Run MTG account are there. So you can find out what's going on from those. And if you haven't been on Mastodon yet, you should check out kinda.social. It's where we've been pointing a lot of people to go to, because a lot of LRR fans are going there, and a lot of us are already there.
So to recap, separation good to try and get algorithm. Separation bad because we don't know how to talk to people. I'm like
it's too hard to try.
That's obviously too simple.
Yeah, it's too hard to get everybody right.
So yeah, unfortunately, the point that Beej has hit on is a problem not just for community or anything. It's just it's always been a problem. Is just getting information out. I'll frequently see posts about thankfully not that frequently, but I will see posts with oh yeah, Loading Ready Run. They were cool. I wonder whatever happened, right? And I'm like, I'm like, we literally never stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, it's very tricky to get news out the door. I don't know when this episode's supposed to go up, but we're going to be at Magic Barcelona, right?
Sure.
And I know there's going to be someone probably who lives in Spain.
Yeah.
Who 3 weeks after we get back is going to be like, you guys were in Barcelona? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sort of like, I don't know what to do, man.
Yeah, we could mention it in every show, or we could mention it on all the things. But it's like if every video we put up literally had a thing on it that said, hey, we'll be in MagicCon Barcelona. Even like sketches just had one of us in the background holding up a sign being like, also we'll be at MagicCon Barcelona. Good crab shot this week, huh? It's like we'd still miss people.
Yeah.
That's just what
so
happens.
that's difficult. But
Yeah.
I do think that something that has been positive in terms of at least producing a better experience for people is realizing that you watching this may not realize this because there's a lot of overlap, but our Twitch audience and our YouTube audience are different and should be treated differently. There is a lot of overlap, and I would suspect that if you're watching this video specifically, you likely exist in that overlap, right? But there are a lot of people who just do not watch Twitch, not interested in live streaming, never go to Twitch, don't care. And there's lots of people that watch us on Twitch that don't watch YouTube. But we realized that like the reason that we edit our VODs the way that we do is because we realized that we were not creating the best experience for the YouTube viewers that we could with some very minimal changes, which is why on the VODs now we do like we finish the thing and we're going to like, all right, hey, here's the Patreon. Thanks everybody for watching. It's been great. See you next time. Because that's all you need for the YouTube video.
And then there's a 3-second pause, and some other stuff happens that if you're only on YouTube, you've never seen.
Because if you're watching a YouTube video on Wednesday that's from a stream that was done on Monday, you don't need to know what streams we're doing on Tuesday.
Yes.
Right? That you don't need that. You don't need to know who subscribed during that stream if you're watching this on YouTube, right? And so that's why we've sort of started to be a little bit more rigorous about that kind of thing, and then like chopping out the commercial breaks and stuff, obviously. But it's it's a small thing, but it means that we're making a better experience for a specific audience.
Well, what's funny too is when you say it's a small thing for like this.
Well,
this
it feels small.
But that's like, when you think about it, though, it's like it's a little thing that we do, that is actually a big thing in the back office.
Yep.
Because for the entire pandemic, Heather was doing the bulk of the VOD editing to make sure that stuff was going out by hand. So everything that we were doing during the pandemic, she'd have to grab each one and she'd have to cut things up manually because our automated method that we had wouldn't work properly with the way that it worked. And so we've now just recently gotten that back up and running again, which should hopefully make things easier on everybody in the Moonbase as a result. And it's like, so that was an investment of to do the automated thing to kind of take care of that. It's like that's an investment of time, that's an investment of more money, that's an investment of education and those kind of things. It means having to address how we do our streams in the first place and making changes to that. And it's like there's all the procedure and background stuff that you'll never get to see, or maybe someday we will talk about it even more. But it's like to result in what is essentially we've removed a 3-minute clip from here and a little bit of stuff from here, so that it's like your experience on YouTube is streamlined. It's nicer.
Yeah.
Actually something cool that she mentioned to me the other day is that when she puts a VOD live, she sets the commercials that run on YouTube at the point they would have run on Twitch.
Yeah.
And she does that by hand for you. For you guys.
For us, because we get the ad revenue. But for
exactly,
you.
Yeah. She could just let it go nuts. But it's like, no, the commercials belong here, and it's better here, and your experience is better here, and we keep trying to concentrate on what maximizes revenue for the company and also what maximizes your enjoyment, and those two things don't always line up with each other. So we do our best to do our best.
Turns out when you let Jesus take the wheel on YouTube ads, they put them everywhere.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like every 15 minutes, but mostly centered at the very beginning. So it's like a giant cluster of speed bumps to get you. Oh, man.
It feels weird, right? It doesn't feel like you're watching the...
They're like 30 seconds in. That seems like a great point to interrupt the flow.
Actually, if I have a complaint is where I'm watching something, I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. And you pause it, and you go to the washroom, and you come back, and you hit play, and it plays another 30 seconds, goes to the thing, because you're like, you've been paused in this for 10 minutes, time for another ad. And I'm like,
how dare you?
I haven't even watched 10 minutes of it yet.
I hope that answers your question.
And maybe some other ones you had.
Yeah. All right, let's go to our second question. From Crab Goddess. What are your most memorable convention stories, and what is something you hope to happen at any potential upcoming conventions? I don't have hopes for upcoming conventions, except that I want to have a good time, and I hope that you have a good time, and hope that people come and say hi and stuff. But there's been a lot of memorable convention stories.
I have one story that I was embarrassed to tell for years, but I'm okay
Oh,
opening up.
please
yeah.
do.
All right, so it's either 2018 or 2019 Magic Fest Vegas. It's my first ever Magic Fest Vegas. It's a very big deal. It's a very big convention. And it's like day 2 or day 3, and I have lost my voice at this point from like shutting over the crowd, so I can only whisper. And I'm at a like creator VIP party at the back, and they've got a little food buffet. And so I'm standing there, very tired. I basically want to leave because I'm wiped, but I want to get a bite to eat before I go. And Adam Savanan comes up and stands a little too close to me in my peripheral.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, Adam, you should take a step back. So I do the thing you do when you're buddy, and you do a little waha, you know, a little like hit to the gonads, a little. This is my
like,
bubble. Please
"Ooh."
take a step back.
Yeah.
And Adam steps back, and to my horror, it's not Adam.
Who was it?
It was famous Magic pro Huey Jensen,
Hey.
who I'd never met before.
But
and
you
I just
touched his penis.
I punched him in the dick, Beej.
Magic Hall of Famer and current director of organized play, William Huey Jensen.
And the worst part is, I couldn't apologize because I had no voice. So I had to whisper in his ear. I'm so sorry. I thought you were somebody else. Let me get uncomfortably close to you to explain this miscommunication that resulted in me touching your genitals.
Imagine someone bopping you in the nuts and then
leaning
going,
in.
and then going, "No, I'm so sorry. I thought you were somebody else." But like, right?
It's like,
Yeah.
am I in a Saw movie? Like, what just happened?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my most memorable convention stories, that's for sure. I was horrified to tell people for years. It's been about 5 years now. I think I can come clean.
Sure, yeah.
Oh man, I have one that's there's an arc to this. So years ago at MagFest, I think it was the first MagFest that we went to actually,
yeah.
which would have been me and Paul. They I don't know if they still do this, but at the time they made what I feel is an incorrect decision, which is that your dealer's hall is open 24 hours a day.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't staff the booth. It was just Paul and I. We didn't staff the booth 24 hours a day, but we were at the booth a lot. And you know, it was okay. You know, we made some sales, met some people or whatever. And there were these two cosplayers. They had astonishing cosplay of, and I wish I was better about the characters' names. I believe it was Gwendolyn and Solaire from Dark Souls, right? So like the Praise the Sun Knight, right? And I think her name is Gwendolyn, or Gwen or Gwyneth, or it's
Sure.
Dark Souls. Anyway, awesome costumes. I was like, whoa, those costumes are awesome. Can I get a picture with you? So I took a picture with them. Then at a subsequent MagFest or possibly PAX East, I'm not entirely sure, there's an amazing Daft Punk cosplay. The two people, you know, dressed like Daft Punk. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Can I get a picture with you? And then afterwards, one of them, I can't remember if they actually took the helmet all the way off or just like leans in and explains, they're like, hey, do you remember those Dark Souls cosplayers from a couple years ago? That was us.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hey, cool. And they'd since like started watching our stuff and like become fans. I don't think they watched stuff beforehand. I honestly,
You're out there watching this
yeah,
now.
it
and
was
you'll
so
let
many
us
years
know,
ago.
Obviously, so.
So anyway, I ran into them at least one other time wearing some equally astounding cosplay because their attention to detail for cosplay is unparalleled. So then years later, at another PAX East, they show up to the booth dressed like Beej.
Yeah.
No way!
Yeah.
The Threege!
Yeah, that was them.
That
Same
was the
people.
Threege.
No
the people that I met at
way.
MagFest ages ago and just been like, those Dark Souls costumes are amazing. Can I take a picture? You know, 6 years later, show up to PAX East dressed like Beej's cosplay outfit, which
Yeah.
is where the photo of Threege comes from.
Which I like.
I may have just stolen your memorable
No,
convention
but
thing,
what I love about that though is that somebody had come by the table. I forget who it was. It was a PAX employee, enforcer, and like.
Oh, Jen. It was Jen.
It was Jen. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I just saw you go over there, and I'm like, I'm here. It's like I just saw you go. That's okay. Beej, someone is dressed up as you.
And we were like, What? No.
No, they wouldn't. It's crazy. But now I have to confirm this. So we go off to a location to try to find them. And then, of course...
Jen feels like she's going mad because
Yeah.
she's like, they were over here. There was someone dressed exactly like you
It was
this direction.
you that went that way up the thing and went that way over there, but you're here now, and that's so weird. Like, how did you do that? And it's like, let's go. You got to show me where they were. So we went off to go find them, and we only went away about a 3-minute walk from the booth,
Yeah.
and we couldn't see where they were. And she's like, I swear they were here. I'm like, Jen, I believe you, but I think it'd be very weird for anybody to decide that if they were going to cosplay me, that they would dress up like they're going to cosplay anything. Why would you decide that, I should cosplay this guy who's only ever at these conventions and only ever dressed like this? And then we go back to the booth and they're waiting there for me. And I'm just kind of blown away by, and their detail, they made nicer hats than I had. And at some point I do have to get a hold of them and be like, I need you to make me a really good quality hat that is durable, because mine are just almost at the end of their life. Most memorable thing, I would assume way back to an early Animathon. So maybe Animathon 10.
All right, you've been in the wars as far as conventions are concerned.
Yeah. You want to go back? We can go back to 2003. And
Don't want to go back.
no, don't. I would say signing somebody's boob was a hell of a thing to do.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't get to do that much often, but I'm like, what's your most memorable experience? I'm like, that just popped into my mind right away.
Boob.
I got to do that. That was weird. Like signing anything.
Oh yeah,
It was always a lot of fun.
I've signed like Nintendos and Game Boys and just weird.
We
weird
used
stuff.
to play the mousetrap game in improv, and so what we would do is at the end we'd take all the mousetraps, which we bought for like 3 for $1 or whatever, and we'd sell them for $1 a pop. So we'd actually be able to get rid of them, and we'd sign them all, and then people would come by and they would be like, "Sweet, awesome," and they'd stand in line and they'd buy one for $1, and we'd all sign them and hand them over. And, yeah,
I don't know why I pictured Beej being like, I'll sign your baby.
right on the face.
Actually, I got one more, which was the first Gen Con that I've been to. I've only been to 2, and they were both of them. I was there because I was filming Tabletop Deathmatch for Cards Against Humanity. And the first year, it was just Jason and I. Our friend Dammit Liz was working with Cards to put this thing together, and someone had put the bug in their ear about like we should make a reality show out of this. And Liz was like, "Well, I know some people," and there was no planning, and it was just like the second year, the second season was great. There was so much planning for that. It's still on their site. Go watch it. But the first season was just like a mess, and so it was interviewing the designers of all these tabletop games just around Gen Con. And so we had like times set up, and we were just different locations with Gen Con in the background, and it was just me and the camera and sort of handlers for the whole thing to like arrange it and get the people together and everything was Jen and Trin, both formerly of Cards and Friendshipping. They go buy their book. And this is the first time that I'd met them. So that to them, I was just like this video guy that Liz had called in. They were not aware of what Loading Ready Run was and the stuff that I'd been doing. Sure. Not so some attendees of Gen Con who repeatedly would come over. Like the first time it happened, someone was like, "Oh my God, you're Graham. How's it going? I didn't know you'd be at Gen Con." I was like, "I didn't know until earlier this week either." And they come over and like say hi, shake hands, like, "Oh, it's so awesome." And they go away, and Jen and Trin are like, "That was amazing. What was that? What just happened?"
Yeah.
And so they every time for the rest of the weekend that someone came up and said hi and we had a pleasant conversation, and then they would leave. Jen and Trin would then look at each other and sing "Precious Moments with Graham." Every time. like it was the eye catch at the end of this conversation I just had with a fan.
It's like having the guy walk beside you and go, "Remember, thou art mortal."
It was great.
Oh, I do have another one actually. I remember because working for this is going to run out our time. I apologize.
That's okay.
So working for anime cons, though, you get to know a lot of different people at different cons, and then they also get to bring in guests and stuff, and you get to like meet people. Well, so my friend Isaac, he was working at SacraCon again back in like 2003 era, and he was one of the guys in charge of guests and guest relation and whatnot. Anyway, and he says, "Man, I am having trouble finding people staffing the press room." And I'm like, oh, I need something to do. Like I was coming just to kind of hang out and like, with everybody else who was doing Anime Alberta stuff, which was another thing. We won't get into that. But I was coming out anyway. We're getting free badges. He's like, you know what? I'll give you a badge if you want to help staff the room. I'm like, I'd be more than happy to staff the room. He's like, yeah, you're normal. I can trust you in this room. So I got to meet like Yoshitoshi Abe, who's the creator of Lane and Haibani Renmei, and have conversation with him. Like, well, the press are asking questions and stuff, and I got to ask a couple questions too, just to kind of keep the conversation rolling. I got to meet Angela, which is the band that did the opening theme for Stelvia of the Universe, which none of you give a crap about, but I do, and they're reasonably popular kind of people. I get to meet a lot of people who did a lot of different things. Those were great moments because I got to ask the guy from Angela, I'm like, this is the chart I made for your song. Are these the right chords? And he looked, he's like, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. The most memorable, though, was at Anime Evolution, same kind of deal, where they're like, we had rented a minivan to drive out there. And so the guys who were running the thing, they're like, Christ, we need to get the people off San Francisco University, which is on a mountain. We need to get them back to their hotels. And nobody has their cars around. It's like, Beej rented a minivan. Why don't we just ask him? It's like, okay, cool. So I like, Beej, you want to drive some of the guests back to the hotel? Like, yeah, it sounds like fun. I don't know Burnaby at all. This is going to be great.
Oh, no.
They're like, you just do this, you do this, you do this. I'm like, I will keep that in mind. And so I get in the van, and out comes the people who are coming back to me. And and again, you will probably have no idea who this is, but it was the band ZZ, or ZZ. They do the One Piece opening.
Oh, okay.
Among many other things. They are a very popular band, if I got that all correct. It's like, maybe I've screwed it up. They hop in the van with me, and I'm like, cool, I get to drive this band, which has probably never been to Canada before, so let's go. And we're driving down the mountain, and they don't speak great English, and I don't speak practically any Japanese, but I'm in my outfit.
Oh, right.
So they're like talking to me and stuff in halting English, asking me questions, and they're like, what's on the thing? And I lean forward, they have a look like, oh, Matsuri, festival, right? I'm like, cool. And we talk a little bit more like, are you from Vancouver? I'm like, no, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. And they're like, and I said, it's like Alberta is like another prefecture, whatever you want to refer to them as, right? And they're like, we don't really understand. I'm like, how far did you drive to get here? And I'm like, sen, which is 1,000.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm like, ropyaku, which is 600. So I just said 1,600 kilo. And they all went, oh, like they just couldn't believe it. Like, how long? And I said,
14 hours.
It was like, jurokusai or whatever. However I put it, it was like basically 16 hours driving.
Yeah.
They're like, all at once? Yeah, all at once. Why wouldn't you drive 1,600 kilometers all in once, or whatever it was that we had to drive to get out there? And they're just blown away that you would drive that distance. And of course, when I went to look at a map, I realized, oh, that's like driving across Japan. Like, it's like, I just did that in 16 hours and it's fine.
Yep.
And they're like, you are strong. You are Superman. And that lives here forever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. All right. Question 3, if you believe it. I've just come home from a convention with a lot of souvenirs, a lot of which I can even display. What are some things you move into the closets when people come to visit? Do you have anything like that, or do you leave it out in the open? At this point, you get what you get. You come into my house, you're going to... I've
seen some shit.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed of anything that I have out.
It might be a generation thing too.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe when you're in your 20s, you're a little bit more like, I can't let people know I'm a weeb.
Yeah.
Right? Like, quick, hide the good anime.
No, I'm married now. I don't need to be like, oh, gee, if a girl comes home, I got to hide these magic cards.
Well, and there's a beautiful piece of art you have in your house that is a giant octopus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is it not a little racy if you really look at it?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you also have a child who's probably never really spent a lot of time looking at all the stuff that's in the place anyway.
No, I will say I don't know if this was on purpose, but that is now like behind the door of the office.
Ah, okay.
I don't think it's there to hide. It's just,
But it is art. Like, it's like, this is not meant to be like, it's not to be like, I put pornography on the wall and then show my kids. It's like, that's not the intention, obviously.
Also, that wasn't I didn't pick that. That's Kathleen picked that. She's like, the colors and the print. I love this.
It's really nice.
I think it's great.
I like it a lot.
That's not like a waifu figurine that I bought years ago.
No.
That I'm like, no, this stays on the mantle.
No. She's the one with the urine androids.
That's
The
true.
Yuri on Ice Nintendo.
Yuri on Ice. Yeah.
Do you have
I
things?
bought those for her, but she was really into Yuri on Ice for a while there. So
Serge, do you have anything that you're kind of like?
So first off, I don't think we've really had guests over in about 3 years.
also that.
Yeah, but there's a rush to panic. We're a lot messier than we let on.
Oh, okay.
So any available surface will have like folded and clean
Oh.
clothing on it, and then people will show up and there's a like,
But there's nothing about your hobbies that you have out.
no. I mean, look, when you're a streamer, you build the wall with pride.
Sure.
Right? You're like, behold my nerddom. At a glance,
Yeah.
you now know what I'm into.
Yeah.
And I guess it's different when your entire life is broadcasting your wants. You're just used to being like, yeah, look, it's already all public, right?
I mean, in my 20s, when I was working for Animathon, when I was volunteering for Animathon, I did have one of the most respected CBC Edmonton frickin' TV reporters come to my house to ask me questions about this thing, to do a piece on us. And I had Sailor Moon posters all over my room. All over my room. And I had some that were like... they weren't erotic.
What was the line? It's got the boom that make you think the wrong thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, some of those here and there, and they made sure to get those on camera. And I was kind of like, in retrospect, because I knew I'm director of PR as well, and I'm like, now from a PR perspective, I was like conflicted on whether this stuff should come down or not, because I'm like, this will definitely speak to the people who want to come to the event, because it's like, well, these are all the girls there, but they're all wearing like the Spacescape is what they're wearing. You know, it's like they're not like titties hanging out, whatever, but it's like they're all wearing a Spacescape, or they're all like dressed in like, they're all dressed in like fashion outfits and stuff. And it's like, yeah, there's all this going on. But having that, I was like, after the fact, I was like, I should have just pulled that stuff down anyway. And that does inform a bit of my house as well, that if you come to my house and you look at what's on my wall, it tends to be more generic art. There's the wall of plushies, which is half my fault and half Heather's. But yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. It's like, if people came to visit and they saw all that stuff out, it's like, I'm not hanging boobs up in my place as a rule, but I don't think I would be down if I thought it was tasteful.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you,
Yeah,
friend.
absolutely.
Yeah. Next question from Pinball Witch. Now the year's half over. Oh, God. What's something coming up that you're excited for in the second half? Professionally, personally, an event, a product, anything that's got you hyped. Barcelona, I'm very excited for. I'm more excited for the entirety, because we're going on a family vacation afterwards. I used to go traveling a lot when I was a kid, generally to England because we had family there. And for the last 3 years, for a couple big reasons, it's not something we've been able to do. And so I'm really excited to go on like a big overseas family trip with Penelope. I'm really, really, really excited about that. So, yeah.
To when it's 50 degrees Celsius.
I'm going to die, but I'm excited about the other stuff. I don't know. The reporting is hopeful the heat wave will break before we get there.
Yeah. You're going to turn her into a climate activist, so that'll be good.
Oh, yeah. And
it's hot because of old people, Penelope.
It's true. And my aunt who lives in Spain is like, the buildings are good, the trains are cooled.
Hey.
Bring a sun hat, which I just bought today, and sunscreen, and a water bottle. So store.loadingreadyrun.com.
Yeah.
For this Lure sun hat? Oh.
No, for the water bottle. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, you're also, because you haven't been traveling in a while either.
This is my first overseas trip since 2013.
Wow.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's weird. I can't say international because I've obviously traveled to the States a lot for work, pre-pandemic and stuff like that.
You've
but
been to like Thailand and stuff too?
That was all 2013.
I can't believe
Japan,
that.
Thailand, all that stuff.
Oh my
I got a
God.
10-year passport, and I went to go to Barcelona to check it. I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's expired. But that was 10 years. That's not, oh, no, right?
We went to, Kathleen and I went to Japan while Kathleen was pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? And then we went to PAX Aus twice. Hey, Australia, love you, miss you. But that's it, right? It's all just been in the States. So yeah, I'm absolutely stoked about it.
It is wild to think that I haven't traveled overseas in a decade because
you in particular.
Yeah, I used to think I had a bit of wanderlust, but this whole content creation thing, you're like, no, Leave
Turns
me
out,
alone.
The hustle is
Yeah, the hustle is real.
Yeah.
But I'm also extending it into a vacation as well.
Oh, good.
So after, I mean, if I'm already flying 10 hours and crossing an ocean, I'm going to enjoy myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's I don't have concrete plans yet, but I'm flying out of London on the 7th. So I'll figure out how to get there afterwards.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because when you told me book me to fly out of London, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, Serge has his whole idea about how he's going to get from Spain,
Nope.
and he's going to maybe go through Paris and do some stuff. And
Well, yeah.
Conversely, I definitely have, because some of those train tickets fill up. I have booked
Oh.
our route.
So in my mind,
Yeah.
there are two essential people in any good traveling team.
Yeah.
And this can be multiple people.
Right.
There is the planner and there's the enabler. And the planner needs somebody to give them energy to do the stuff. But they don't want anyone else to step on their toes.
Right.
So my whole job is just to say yes. And boy, are there some ambitious plans. Nothing's locked in yet, but they're like, how many cities could we hit? We're like, we only have 7 days. And like, so 9 is too many. I'm like, oh my God. Well, yeah, they're like, okay, so we go to Switzerland. We use this as a base camp. We do some day trips to Germany.
Oh,
We stop
yeah.
in Paris. We fly to Edinburgh. There's a fringe festival happening. We dip over to Ireland. We go to the Cascade of the Giants or whatever the giant steppies are called. I can't remember.
The Causeway of the Giants.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the word.
No problem.
Yeah.
The basalt. You're going to try and hit the Edinburgh Fringe?
I don't know.
I mean, hell, if you can do it, do it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, why
I
not?
don't know how much you'll be able to see.
I
but
cannot
mean,
wait to hear
yeah.
about this adventure.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So I'm just saying yes. Whatever they do, I'm like, look,
Awesome.
we've had a conversation about budget. There's a lot of them saying we'll sleep when we're dead. Don't love that energy, but I'm still here to say yes. And yeah, we'll see what shape I'm in when I get back. You know.
That's going to be great.
You know what? I'd be there with you were it not for a 7-year-old. But so we'll be doing a slightly different vibe.
Maybe we cross paths.
I
Who
hope
knows?
so.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The second half of the year, I'm looking forward to this.
finishing up, getting everything.
No, well, the fact
just
that we're here,
so that I
just being here.
oh, it's such a relief.
Yeah.
It's such a relief to be here now, and yeah, it's so good, and you'll see eventually in a video about this. But like
Yeah.
James especially has been working his ass off for this to get this place all up and running and together, and it's
Yeah. His coordination was vital to actually seeing this place come together, and I have some things that I wanted, which is great. I got a lot of the things that I wanted out of a new moon base, and so I feel good about that. And like, obviously the trouble with the internet notwithstanding, that's not going to matter in 6 months, right? It's like who gives a crap? But at the time, it's obviously a bad thing. But yeah, outside of that, there's not like. I originally was like, does Beej come to Barcelona because maybe we run a booth? And it's like, no, we're not doing that. That's so many other problems and stuff. Does Beej go to Vegas? Yes, because we might end up running that booth. So we're going to keep that in mind.
We should, yeah.
That's a lot of like, my job here has kind of been every month there's a new chunk of things that have to be done before the next month. So I'm kind of thinking about those things. But I will be going to PAX West, which would be nice to do that after it's been some time that we haven't done it. So that's like a trip. And it's funny, right? It's like the things we're looking forward to in the second half of the year, by and large, have been travel related. But I also look forward to October because I have things I can't talk about that are happening in October.
Ooh.
So I'm very pleased about that because that makes me excited to think about what October is going to look like for us.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from W McDuff. That's the answer. If you were to go on a road trip with each of the other people, where would you want to go with them? So this dovetails neatly into that last question because I had thought about this actually. So if it's just me and the other person, right? There's no one else there. None of our partners are there.
It's just the three of us.
It's just, no.
Or
with each of the other people.
Oh, so just
so me and you.
Okay.
I want to do that 1600K in Japan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Drive from north to south.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Me and Serge, I want to go somewhere where neither of us have been and don't know about. Right? Like I'm talking like Southeast Asia or like former Soviet countries, right? Like somewhere where it's like, yep, let's go. Which way? That way? Sure, let's go that way. Right? There's my quick answers.
There's a control and no control, which is very interesting. Like we've put a box on one side and the box is on the outside.
They'd be very different vibes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to exist in either of those worlds, right? I'd be very happy for like Graham and Serge do a coffee tour of
Turkey.
Turkey. Sure, absolutely. Oh, that Turkish coffee! I've never tried it.
Yeah, I
I've
haven't
never
either.
tried it.
Yeah.
right. Or just like, where are we going now? Oh, we're going up to Estonia, and I have family in Estonia. Let's go there. Why not? Whereas conversely, I'm super into the idea of like, what are you into in Japan? Where should we go?
Yeah.
What do we visit?
Show me all the interesting places you've learned from watching all these different
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Cultural translator Beej.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of like that too. Like just. All right, you know what, Beej? You have an afternoon. Take me around Akihabara.
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, Ian would be even better for that.
I so badly want to spend an entire day with you and Ian in just in Akihabara Electric Town.
Yes.
And just like let it wash over me.
Yeah.
Just show me where to go.
Yeah.
Point me in the tiny stores with weird stuff up the stairs and around the bend.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that shocked me in Japan was the verticality.
Yeah.
You're like, I swear this is the right place. You're like, it is, but it's 4 stories up.
It's
You're
what looks like an apartment block, and it's literally like 6 nightclubs in a pile. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's so weird to me.
Yeah. There's a maid cafe, a lawyer's office, a private detective, and another maid cafe.
So you don't have to have the same answer for me.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Also, where would you two go?
It's so funny to you want to go first or
So I'm trying to think of things that aren't.
because I think I know what I want.
That aren't lore. That aren't like. Obviously, we put Beej in a box,
Yeah.
right? Like there's the Weeb box.
I'd be happy to do Trans-Canada with Beej. I think that would also be
Yeah.
fascinating, right? I've never been east of Toronto, and I've only been to Toronto. Right. On land, I've never been east of, which one's further east, Alberta or Calgary or Edmonton?
They're actually
north, south
They
of
are?
each other.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've never been east of mid-Alberta.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's mess
I
it up,
definitely
Beej.
have.
Let's screw it up. I want to go on a train trip with you, Trans-Canada. There's a northern route that goes the whole way.
Yeah.
No internet.
Oh yeah.
We have to bring books or pre-pack, and that's the thing. It's like, Beej, what do you bring with you? What you are our entertainment.
Like
what
no,
have you?
no electronics.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What have you?
Can't bring the
What
Switch.
have we
Yeah.
prepared? Right. This would be fascinating, and be like, yeah, all right.
Oh God, yeah, because a Trans-Canada train trip would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it also would take freaking forever because of the way the Via Rail is. But
Yeah, it's like 13 days
Yeah,
or whatever.
This hypothetical is not bound by we have to get
drop
back
50
to work.
grand on me and we can do it.
Yeah,
then, right?
yeah.
And try not to make it work is the other thing as well. It's trying to make it into something that you turn into work ultimately. Because boy, there's been some discussion on Lure content about things they'd like to see me do. I think though what will be fun for me, either of you, because I could split this either way, is that it would be like I'd love to. Like, I think Serge, you'd be good for this. Actually, is we go to the Okanagan, and because it sounds like to me like you've been there a lot, and so have I. But then that means to me that I'm like, I don't know what you like to do when you're in the Okanagan, and I don't think you'd have any clue what I like to do.
No idea.
Because I spent my summers in Penticton all the time, and I'm assuming you didn't, or like Kelowna and stuff.
I mean,
like a Soyuz.
I didn't want to like split the difference. It was more a shoe swap than the
Oh, that could
Okanagan.
be- I've never done a shoe swap.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it's
yeah.
like if we're talking about like large lakes in central BC, it wasn't really worth splitting hairs.
Sure.
But since it came up, you
But
know,
that kind of thing. But I would definitely love to do that. To be like, that would get a houseboat or whatever. I'd
Yeah.
be like, come to Penticton with us and camp and like, do the canal and do the lakes and whatever. I would like you to accompany me probably to Alberta to either to go to Edmonton to really spend, because you've been there obviously once, we know that. But it's like to see like this is the place where I spent a lot of my time, like university wise. Because with Heather, it was like I wanted Heather to come down to Medicine Hat with me. This is where I grew up,
Right.
and really get a sense of that. I don't know if that's that important to a lot of my other friends, even Ian, who I've known for 20 years. It's like I don't need to take Ian out to Medicine Hat. I did that once already.
I've never
though,
been to the town that I remind you at home is called Medicine Hat.
But it's like doing that, because I've thought about like, well, what would you do for Road Quest 2? And I'm like, would I want to take people up and down through like go frickin' everywhere in Alberta and be like, we're just going to cover the borders.
Circle tour of
Just
Alberta.
going to do a circle tour of Alberta. And it's like, why? What's the point? Like, what do you actually learn from that? Everything's very flat, where except for the places where it really isn't.
We're going to circumnavigate Alberta.
Yeah, but it's like I've lived here for like 10 years now, and I've heard so much about what you've done and all the places you've gone in Victoria and all, like, oh, we used to hang out here, oh, we take this road to go this way, you do these kind of things. And I'm kind of like, any of my friends would be really fun to say, I'm going to take you to where I grew up, and I'm going to show you how I grew up, and all the weird stuff that I know about the place where I live, and like the way that we did things there. And I'm like, I don't know how interesting that would be. I mean, maybe like a 2-day trip, and then we'd be like, we have to leave because we've run out of shit to do.
I'd be interested.
You
That
were
sounds
here
fun.
for 18 years? Like, yeah.
Yeah, this is how I grew up. Shit. And then we moved to Edmonton, and it's like, more about that in the podcast someday. But yeah.
Neat. Okay, I dig it. All right, I think we can sneak in a couple more.
Okay.
We've got this one from the Dave, who says, "You're ordering pizza." Oh, this is a sort of similar question. If each of you had to pick the toppings you think the other two would want, what would you order for them? Wait, am I ordering pizza for both of you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. How about we pick one pizza?
Okay.
Collectively...
That we think we could actually all agree on?
Yeah, we all have to put one topping. Don't pick for yourself. Pick for the other two.
Because I know that if I was picking Graham's toppings, I'd just say ham and pineapple, and that would be like, I know we get across the finish line.
Just like Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, I don't know if Serge likes that, so I'm going to just say I'd put ham on the pizza because I think you would both hit that.
Okay, yeah.
Put bacon on the pizza.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I like where this is going. Yeah.
This one,
And-
I don't know, like the cop-out answer is like
cheese.
extra cheese.
Man, it sounds like a good pizza.
To be fair, it does. Actually, okay, so here's, because I don't know. How do you feel about mushrooms on pizza?
I will do mushrooms on pizza.
You will do mushrooms on
Yes,
pizza, but you wouldn't seek them out.
It's a halfway thing for me. It's like
Okay.
I never seek out the pepperoni mushroom, but I will eat it if it's there. I'd eat that over pepperoni because I'd rather have variety on my pizza.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do you feel about?
I'm a big no.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, arugula? You like greens on your pizza?
No.
Hell yes.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll do spinach, arugula, and you want to put greens on my pizza, go nuts.
Yeah.
So
no.
there's standard pizza has, this is very funny. I'm like, what's
This
the
is
pizza?
this is a local place in town.
Yeah.
Love standard pizza.
I'm like, what's that really good pizza you have with the fried egg pizza? Like, oh, the bacon pizza.
Yeah.
But their bacon pizza, which has ham on it, they also have a fried egg in the center.
Ooh. Ham,
And-
bacon, and egg.
Yeah, bacon and egg is actually really good. Because the nice part is that they cook it, and of course it comes out soft, which means when you crack the yolk and you can spread the yolk around or dip your whatever in it. I'm like, that really improves the pizza. I mean, it improves anything that's bread, let's be
I
honest.
think I'm getting that pizza for dinner tonight.
All right.
All right.
All right, so bacon and egg pizza, I think that
Yeah.
works, yeah.
Sounds great.
With ham.
Next, we have this question from. I think Paul figured we would be talking for longer about that. No Slew 87, who says, "Have you had? I believe this is chilaquiles. If so, why not? Wait,
What?
That's what it says.
If
I have not had them, and then it's because I don't know what they are.
So that's also my answer, but I did hear this referenced recently in this is a reference to something, and I don't know what. They're a fried tortilla cooked in salsa and topped with cheese. Well, that sounds delicious. They
contain cheese, beef, lettuce, tomato.
what if it's supposed to be if no, why not?
I assume that's what they meant.
Is it
No,
Tex-Mex?
I like this way better, though.
Yeah.
Have you had them? If you have, why haven't you had them? And for me, it's like I haven't had them, and I did it because I do not know what they are.
So I think the simple answer here. Oh man, I'm gonna absolutely eviscerate myself quickly.
Sure.
I'm assuming it's Mexican.
yeah,
I'm about
okay.
to say, as Canadians, especially because statistically the majority of you watching are Americans, you have a lot more exposure to Mexican food than we do.
Yeah.
And the only Mexican food that really makes its way through is, tacos, burritos, and maybe some like the simpler fare and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And this is where I find out this is like a French dish or something
Oh,
like
right?
that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're like, oh,
it's
Serge.
like, or it's like tapas or something like that.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
or
oh,
a Spanish dish, right?
Yeah,
And you're like, okay, what is the country of origin, Graham?
is it Brazil?
They are a Mexican breakfast dish consisting of corn tortillas cut into quarters and lightly fried. So this is actually different. than what I just said before.
Oh.
Typically corn tortillas cut into quarters, lightly fried, baked for a lighter version at the bases of the dish, green or red salsa poured over crisp tortilla triangles. The mixture is simmered until the tortilla starts softening. Pulled chicken is sometimes added to the mix. It's commonly garnished with crema, crumbled queso fresco, sliced onion, and avocado. It can be served with refried beans, eggs, and guacamole as a side dish.
These are nachos.
They're nachos. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
These are just nachos.
But they're
breakfast
breakfast nachos. Serge,
nachos.
it's everything you've ever wanted.
I need to find a place that
Chilaquiles.
serves this in town. So my normal go-to, my favorite Mexican brunch place, is a chimichanga.
Okay.
Which isn't even a breakfast dish,
No.
but I'll mess up a chimi, right? But chilaquiles?
Chilaquiles.
All right, I am
Probably a hard L on that because there's not the two L's beside each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't wait to get to Spain and just do my best. No habla español.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no remotely hablo español.
You need
I'm
to
going
learn
to
how
be
to-
in big trouble.
I've learned you don't pronounce the H's,
Yeah.
and you got to put a little Spanish on the end.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of regional dialects around there as well. So
Just learn how to say, fill this hole with food. I'm sure that will get the entire meaning across.
What if they do it literally? Yeah. I'm
like a
hoping that a
baby.
lot of well-intentioned pantomime will get me. Like I don't travel to another country and expect them to speak English.
no, never. That said, the UK has ruined this. Don't like so many people from England come to Spain, specifically the Mediterranean side
Sure.
of Spain. Like we'll be fine for muddling through with English. In fact, I bet we'll be a lot more polite about it.
I'm so sorry in advance.
Oh yeah. No, my apologies to the country of Spain and anyone who is from there.
Watch out, we're coming.
But a thank you to all of you for watching and listening, and for those of you who sent us questions. And I'm sorry that we couldn't get to all of them, but if you want to fire us some questions next month for a different squad of 3 folks, you can do that by becoming a YouTube member and keeping an eye out for the community post that Heather will literally vomit onto the community page of the YouTube channel.
Heather.
Yeah. So it's
It's a condition. We're trying to find a doctor to diagnose what's wrong.
What a great image.
You weren't expecting that callback, were you? If you don't want to become a YouTube member, that's cool. You can also support us financially other ways, such as on our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun, which we really appreciate. And if you don't want to support us financially or are unable to, that's totally cool too. Thanks for being here. That's why we want to share all this stuff with you for free. But we do hope that you can support us if you want. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Serge and Beej.
It's enough.
And Paul is on tech. And Heather gets these online. Thank you all for watching. Bye.